In this video guys, I'm going to be doing a stat guide for Kaizen in Roblox, so without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So yeah guys, in this video I'm going to be doing a stat guide on the three main styles: the weapon style, the fighting style, and also the cursor style. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is the weapon style. This is personally what I main, and it is worked out very well for me. For the weapon style, I would recommend putting most of your stats into weapon. However, also put your stats into stamina and defense, especially a little bit into your defense, because as you can see right now, I'll show you my stats. I've gone for kind of like a glass cannon build where I've put most of it into weapon. Look, I've put 744 into weapon, 70 to defense, and 70 into stamina. Personally, it has worked out for me a lot because I can actually, for me, I don't like get hit as much because I always get the first hit off. But if you tend to get hit a lot from like characters, if you like too close to them and they hit you and they start comboing you just like this, if they combo you like this and you gather up a lot of characters, you're gonna die very easily because of course your defense is going to be extremely low. So I'm just gonna hit this guy off, kill him. Look, as you can see right there, like this, my defense, look, I'm already like very low compared to the HP I have. For every 100 points, say if you had 100 stat points, this is what I would recommend. If I had 100 stat points like this, I would put 60 into my weapon. There we go. So if I had 60, blah I'd put 60, 20 into my defense and 20 into my stamina. And if you're asking, why do you need to put stamina? Because trust me, if you want to use your moves on your weapon, you need to put a lot into stamina because your stamina runs out super quick. So I'm going to use my spacer, but just for an example, and look, my stamina is already at 453. Just like that, my stamina's run out. And if you're consistently using them, boom, and dashing whilst you're moving around, your stamina is going to run out in no time. So yeah, prioritize stamina. So put 20 at least for every 100. At least put 20 into your stamina and 20 into your defense, so you don't become like me, where I'm a glass cannon. To be honest, it has worked for me. But yeah, if you tend to get hit a lot, put a lot into your defense. So put 20, 20, 60. That's what the split I'd go for personally for weapon. To be honest, if you could go for a glass cannon build, it is also an option where you just put so much into your weapon and like basically a little bit into your defense, a little bit into your stamina. That is also a valid option. However, I would only recommend it if you are actually like skillful at the game and you won't get hit as much. Yeah, that's what I would personally recommend if I was doing a weapon build, because of course the weapon scales off the weapon stat. So the more you put into your weapon stat, the more powerful your weapon is, if that makes sense. I think that's pretty obvious. But yeah, so if you want to prioritize your weapon, put as much in your weapon, you're going to be as powerful as possible. So yeah, that's what I would personally recommend for the weapon. That's what I would personally recommend, especially for a beginner. Just go for a 60-20-20 split. So yeah, for every 10 stats you get, just put 6 into your weapon, 2 into your defense, and 2 into your stamina. Just keep on doing that, keep on doing that, and I promise you it's going to be very helpful, especially when you're going to fight bosses and stuff. Because personally with this build, I cannot fight the big bosses because I just get two-shotted and basically useless. So yeah, if you do want to fight bosses, do not go for the glass cannon build because it won't work. This build only works if you're killing NPCs and just trying to level up doing quests and stuff, especially the high level boss quests. You won't be able to last at all because you're going to be doing a lot of damage, but you're going to die instantly, so it's basically useless. That's a stat build I would go for weapons. And now we're going to be moving on to the next one, which is one of the most important ones, if not the most important style, which is the curse style. So for the curse style, the stat build is going to be a little bit different. I would mean putting a lot into curse, because to be honest, you don't need that much stamina for your curses. The only stamina you need if you like tend to dash a lot and stuff. But if you don't tend to dash a lot, don't put that much into your stamina. So if I had 100 points, I would put probably 70 into your curse, 20 into your defense, and 10 into your stamina, because the curse style basically mains off curse. So the more points you put into curse, the more damage you're going to do. That's basically, I think that's pretty straightforward. So yeah, the more points you put into curse, the more damage you're going to do. If you want to become as powerful possible, put as much into your curse as possible. To be honest, you can also go for a 75-25 split. Yeah, stamina is not that useful or helpful if you're going to be using a curse, because the only time you're going to be using stamina is if you're dashing. But yeah, if you're not dashing and stuff, if you tend to just run around and not press your Q button, don't put that much into stamina because it's going to be basically useless. Because unlike the weapon style, your moves from your weapon take stamina. However, the moves from your curse take curse. So yeah, just put mostly into your curse. I would actually probably go for a 75-15-5 split. So 75 into your curse, 15 into your defense, and then 5. And then the rest of the 5 into your stamina. That's what I'd go for, 75, 15, and 5. That's what I would do personally. Alright, and the last and final thing we're going to be talking about is the fighting style. This is basically more towards the people that like playing with melee and just maining melee basically. In my opinion, you shouldn't really use this that much. In my opinion, curses and weapons are a lot better, but if you do main this, I would recommend putting a lot into your melee a lot into your stamina and a lot into your defense. I would probably go for the same split as the weapon. So I would go for 60 into your melee, 20 into your stamina, and then 20 into your defense. But yeah, as I was saying, I would put the same to your kind of mimic the weapon, but a bit more into your stamina. So if I had a fighting style, I would put 50 into my melee, 30 into my stamina, and then 20 into my defense. Because all of these moves, when you use them, they actually take stamina, not curses. So if I just use my division kick, as you can see, it takes stamina. Knee charge takes stamina, and then the axe slam takes stamina, and then tornado kick also takes stamina. So if I just use that, and to be honest, if you're using it a lot, it's gonna finish very, very quickly, especially if you're dashing and using it at the same time. Look, boom, it's gonna be it's gonna run out very, very quickly. So yeah, I would recommend putting a lot into your stamina. Just act like the stamina is like kind of tracker and just put as much into it as you need, because if you're using this a lot, you need to put as much into your stamina as possible. So maybe even do for a 40-40-20 split, but I would recommend personally a 50-30-20 split, where I would put 50 into my melee every 100, 30 into my stamina every 100, and then 20 into my defense. To be honest, you can also put 15 into your defense and increase your melee or your stamina, but that's just preference. But if you're thinking going for a glass cannon build using a fighting style, I would recommend going for a 60 into your melee, 30 into your stamina, and then 10 into your defense for every 100, or 6, 3, 1 for every 10 points you get. But that is personally my recommendation, especially if you're a beginner and you just want to get as powerful as possible and level up as much as possible. But yeah, that's the 3 builds I would personally recommend. But yeah, if you do want to get from level 0 to level 400 as fast as possible, those are the builds I would personally go for, especially if you're a beginner and just trying to get as many damage output as possible in. So yeah, that's what I would personally go for if I was in your position. But yeah, to summarize this video, if you have a weapon, prioritizing putting your stats into weapon and stamina, as using your moves does require a lot of stamina. And if you're using a curse, put most of your points into curse, because you don't really need stamina, and put a little bit into your defense, because you're going to get one-shotted if you don't. If you are maining a fighting style, put points into your melee and put points into your stamina, because the stamina is what you actually use to use your moves. So if you are going to be using a lot of your moves, put a lot into your stamina. Defense is not that important, but do put a little bit into your defense, of course, if you don't want to get one-shotted. But early on, you don't really get one-shotted. They do like 4 damage, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, prioritizing, especially if you're fighting style, prioritize melee and stamina. But yeah guys, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any sort of way, make sure to like, subscribe, and also if you're wondering how do I get modules to get a very good weapon just like mine, well look at the traits, they're amazing and it's a legendary weapon. Make sure to check out my video link in the description down below, where I tell you 2 amazing ways to get as much modules as possible. If I go on my inventory right now, look how many modules I got, and that's only grinding for a few hours. One of them is actually an AFK way, where I got 70 modules. So yeah, if you want to check that out, link in the description down below. And also if you have any questions or ideas, make sure to comment that down below. I'll be sure to answer them as fast and as soon as possible. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day guys, and peace out guys, peace out.